Let's go on a 4-day trip as an airline pilot. But guess what? Spoiler alert, it's not a 4-day trip. This ended up being a 5-day trip. Hi, my name is Darren. I'm a dad, airline pilot, driver electric cars. This is a trip I had last week. It was supposed to be a pretty easy 4-day trip, but it wasn't easy. Day one was a semi-early departure out of Dallas to Phoenix. Once in Phoenix, I was there for 3 hours and 20 minutes, and due to work rules at this airline, I got an extra 40 minutes of pay, which paid for my lunch. The first leg was Dallas to Phoenix again on a 321 Neo. Actually, the first two legs were on a Neo. Nice, new, fancy airplane. Again, I love my tray table. It's essential for my flight. Just kidding, but I like it anyway. I did guess the altimeter setting in Dallas. Pretty neat. Anyways, got all my paperwork set up, got my clearance to the CPDLC box, and we were on our way to Phoenix. The first leg was the captain. Fairly straightforward flight. Nothing too exciting. Got to Phoenix and then walked through the terminal. Everything here is expensive and not that great, and narrow hallways. This is a new area here, but most of it's pretty narrow. Not my favorite. On the second leg was also a Neo, but this one had an issue with the starter on the left engine. So I'm reviewing the logbook to make sure I'm familiar with the airplane, and we had issues. The ground equipment worked fine, but we kept getting a amber nose wheel steering message, which is not normal after we started the engine. And we kept talking to maintenance, looking through our books and calling people, and we couldn't make sense of this. We took a pretty big delay. Turns out that amber message is okay in that one situation. Anyway, got to Miami after the long day, and we headed outside to the airport hotel. This is a pretty short stay. Like maybe 12 hours after we were delayed, about 2 hours in Phoenix. Not my favorite hotel, not the worst hotel in the world, but it was fine. The next day was a St. Vincent turn. I have never been to St. Vincent before in my life, and neither had the captain. Nice airport, and we were surprised they actually had jet bridges there, but it was just a simple turn, and this was kind of unique in that we brought our flight attendants there and left them for 24 hours. This was a new overnight for them, and when we picked up the flight attendants in St. Vincent, they thought it was a pretty nice overnight, so that was kind of nice for them. Airbus 319 on this turn. It was a one with the Sharklets and with the CFM engines. Nice flight over there. Nothing too crazy, just long, really. I did spill my coffee. Starbucks. I had to do it. We did have a unique problem in St. Vincent. They have runway 4 and runway 22. Same piece of pavement, of course. All approaches are to runway 4. There are no approaches that are charted to runway 22. But the winds when we were arriving were like 240 at like 10. So we actually had to do a tailwind landing. We ran the numbers for it. We were good for it. But landing with a tailwind isn't normal. You do take a performance penalty. Why? Because when you land with a tailwind, the plane is being pushed forward instead of being the wind pushing against the airplane. So you're going much faster than you are actually flying, indicated, and you kind of eat up more of the runway pavement when you're flying with a tailwind. When I land with a tailwind, I don't care about a smooth landing because if I try to grease it on and I hold the nose off, I'm eating up runway as I go down in my flare. So you just land flat. You land flat, somewhat firm, and call it done. For the departure, we did take off runway 22 into the headwind, so it was a non-issue performance-wise, which is my leg back. Got to Miami, and they have those unique step pads to go through the door. Cleared customs and went to the long overnight hotel. Now, this was a 24-hour overnight in Miami, which is kind of weird, having another set of pilots who were Dallas-based overnighting in Miami. Crazy line after customs. Look at this long line to get back in. Anyway, we went outside, and the van happened to be pulling up right then. Very odd, but I love not having to wait for a nondescript white van. Nice overnight, nothing special. I did make waffles the next day. Remind me of my regional days. Again, day 3 was a kind of a long day. It was Seattle, which was blocked at 6 hours and 48 minutes. To prepare, I got my preparation food. I like nerds of all types, but don't worry, I had papaya and an apple as well. It wasn't just sugar. It was refined sugar and fruit sugar. Don't judge me. I did have a big hotel room, nice balcony room, great location. Can't complain too much. It was in Sunny Isles, Florida. Anyways, 7:30 departure, 11:18 arrival. We had a 5:20 van time for a 6:30 report time, which I'm like, why is it an hour and 10-minute van ride? But if you're from the Miami area, you know it can take a long time. It's almost LA traffic. I'm contemplating this van time. Like, are we going to get there in time? But we did. I ended up getting to the airport right at 6:21, so they have it right as far as an hour for like 19 miles. Whatever. Cleared KCM and went to get my coffee for the trip. Yeah, I did not get. What did I get? It was Starbucks again. It was Starbucks again because it's convenient. Anyway, Airbus 321 Neo again. Stored the bag, went outside, did the pre-flight, back inside, and got the clearance. One day, I'm going to have time to actually film how the CPDLC clearance works. It's different than our normal clearance. It all goes to this little box up top, and we can actually load it straight into the MCDU, which is the larger screen you're seeing me press buttons on now. It's very convenient, especially when we get a reroute. But it takes some time for me to actually get everything ready to film it, and I didn't do it because I'm not that good. But this is me requesting the clearance via CPDLC. There was a lot of weather over Central Florida, and there was lots of delays that we didn't actually know about. Looked all good to us on the taxi out. And then ground's like, you know what, you might have to get a reroute, get ready to get in line. There was no one getting out to the north. And the reason being, well, it looked pretty nasty. This is my turbulence app, and all those little dots are reported turbulence by actual aircraft. Again, I use this before every flight to see how things are looking at the time. And you can see it's all associated with the weather system just north of Miami. Thankfully, we taxied out and they let us go right away. Long flight, very long flight. I was happy to be done. We waited at the gate and they never connected the ground power, which was a little bit annoying. So I'm looking up, come on, ground power, nothing. We ended up having to shut the airplane down entirely and head to the hotel. This hotel I had never been to before. It was on a lake right next to the Boeing factory. Pretty unique, and it's pretty neat to see the 737s there. I'll have a video about this later on. The pickup area is a very long walk. Anyways, nice room, and I was very relaxed. It's very scenic. I got some not Starbucks coffee again. Please fix your point system, and some donuts. I walked around a lot back to the hotel, and I was relaxing for my flight when I got notified that my flight was canceled because of weather in Dallas. I was not happy. I had plans for Thursday morning, the next day. My wife had to take care of those plans for me. I got some Thai food, paid extra for rice. That was kind of weird. Went to bed, and the next morning woke up for the early departure, Seattle to Dallas. Again, I got reassigned. I do get extra money for this. It was not worth the headache. I think after all said and done, my trip was worth like 32 hours versus 25 and a half hours. It wasn't worth it. But long flight back, my leg, look at this seat. Whoever parked this airplane parked it with a big recline. Who sits like this? This is not comfortable. I can't imagine sitting back like this at all, trying to fly an airplane. Anyways, it was my leg back to Dallas. CPDLC again, and you can see what it looks like when we get the clearance from ATC. We get a little flash on the screen, a little flash on the light, and then an audible tone as well. This is the same tone we hear during flight if we get sent a message and don't respond right away. The flight back to Dallas was fine until after landing when my number 2 thrust reverser and engine had an issue. Had a rev minor fault, and then the engine had a fault as well. I couldn't record the other fault message because it went away. But I was done with the flight, happy to go home, see my family, and of course, play a little sorry with my kid that evening. This was a long flight. I don't like delays. I hate not coming home on time. As part of the job, I get it. And it's my fault for making plans on the next day when I should make plans the day after I get home. Anyways, have a great day as always, and thank you for stopping by.